Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk with Broads. We are broadcasting live from the Manscaped Man Cave. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. The Lakers are up 3-1 in the series. The Miami Heat, they're battling. With or without their guys. Now, Bam came back for Game 4. Dragic is still out. They're giving everything they have. I tip my cap and I respect their work ethic, but it's not enough as LeBron and AD and the supporting cast take control in Game 4. This sucks, though. I'm not going to lie to you. The fact that Game 3 went up against Sunday Night Football and the Philadelphia Eagles, it takes away so much of this series for me. I normally, when it comes to the NBA Finals, break down every single game. I'm hyping up the next game. It's magnificent. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I love the NCAA tournament like no other, and I fall in love with the NBA Finals every single damn year. And this year, it's just not the same. I don't want it to be this way, but it's not the same. The fact that I'm trying to get my notes together and study what's happening with the Birds while Jimmy Butler's going off for a 40-point performance and a triple-double off to the side with the volume barely up, it's not the way that it's supposed to go down. And I do want to touch on Game 3 just a bit because Jimmy Butler was magnificent. He was on another level. He was on a tear. He's mouthing off to LeBron James, right? Being that Jimmy Butler type dog that we all appreciate when it comes to his mentality as a basketball player and realistically in life as a whole. But that was unrealistic. Jimmy Butler is not a 40-point performance type guy. He's not that big-time triple-double type guy. And when you saw the Heat take Game 3 and everyone was like, uh-oh, is there something there? Now it's 2-1. What's going to happen? The next game is so big, and the next game is definitely so big, but to expect Jimmy Butler to put up those type of numbers every single game, it's unrealistic. That's what Jimmy Butler would have to be for the Miami Heat to succeed and take this series on his own. It's just not going to happen. And as you saw in the next game, he finished with 22, 10, and he did have 9 assists. It was close to a triple-double, but he started out, 5 for 5 or so, and then he finished 8 for 17. So it died down. That's not who Jimmy Butler is. That Game 3 Jimmy Butler, that's not his identity. And that's okay. It's not supposed to be. It's so hard to be that. Who is? Who is that 40-point performance guy with the triple-double? That's not a common thing. There's not common players out there to do it. But for Jimmy Butler specifically, he would need to do that for 4 wins. 4 wins if this team was going to actually do anything. And it's not in the cards. And that's fine. I'm not knocking him for it. I just thought the overreaction to that game was so overblown. It was a phenomenal effort. And I love the fact that he's not afraid of LeBron. He's not afraid of this team. You could see it in his face. You could see it in his demeanor, the way he just plays on the court. He's not afraid of anybody. And I admire that type of philosophy and mindset. It just wasn't going to carry that far, and you're seeing that as the series is 3-1. I thought Tim Legler broke it down great after the game was over on ESPN on SportsCenter. The Lakers were opportunistic. When the Miami Heat went down and they had good looks for 3, they missed them. They straight up missed them, whether it was Jimmy Butler for 3, Tyler Hero wide open. That's a guy you need to rely on to make a shot. Granted, he's young. He's not going to make every shot. Big moment, big stage. You got to cash in on those wide open looks that you draw up for Tyler Hero. Crowder, right? If these Miami Heat players are missing their wide open looks, the Lakers are grabbing the rebound, they're going down, and they're executing. Just like that, they're executing. So while that could have sparked a run for the Miami Heat, or it could have been a swing for the Heat, here comes the Lakers right on the other side, and they are making sure that they are getting a bucket. And I thought that was so big that they were opportunistic and making sure when they get that chance, coming off of a Heat miss, bang, let's go. Bang, let's put up points. And they did it consistently throughout the night, and that was the difference. This was close. This was a close game, but the better team pulled out late based off of those opportunities and chances that I am mentioning as we speak. I thought you had good production out of your secondary players from the Los Angeles Lakers. Whether it was KCP, Rondo. Now, Rondo didn't have a bucket all game long until that layup late, but he impacted the game in other ways. His veteran presence, his ball handling. That's what he is known to do, the way he facilitates the game. He had a major impact and barely scored. And then he had the big-time layup, which it seemed like the Heat were giving him the shot, or was there a mistake to not challenge him? It was almost as if they were anticipating him to facilitate on that play, and that allowed him to just get a nice, easy layup to the basket. Morris, Caruso, some shots were made. Kyle Kuzma had a couple buckets. Danny Green had a couple buckets. The supporting cast really played their role. When you look at Miami, you had 12 minutes of Kelly Olynyk, about 20 minutes for Iguodala, who, in my opinion, is just showing his age. He looks so old out there, I'm not going to lie to you. And none. I like none. But the difference in bench play, when you have Morris and you have Caruso and you have some other players on the Lakers stepping up, it's two different benches, and that is a difference. Now, Dragic is a big loss for Miami. I touched on that earlier in a podcast when I was discussing the NBA Finals. You lost a lot. You lost such an underrated player. He's so valuable to this team when it comes to ball handling, scoring. He had many games throughout this playoff run where he was the guy scoring buckets late in the fourth quarter. He was stepping up and putting away the Boston Celtics or just putting away a game late. Dragic was a big-time loss. I still think, though, that this Lakers team, they have too much to handle with LeBron and Anthony Davis. And to be fair, it's not like the Lakers are that much of an extreme powerhouse. That's just what AD and LeBron as a package brings to the table. They're not some team that is unbeatable. As a whole, I'm saying, the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. It's like, wow, who the hell is beating that team? The Lakers are a beatable team. I think that just shows you, though, what LeBron and Anthony Davis are doing as a power couple, if you will, as a dynamic duo. This was the year of the duos. That was the big conversation heading into this season, with everyone splitting up. Kawhi going to the Clippers with Paul George. Russell Westbrook with James Harden. It was just the year of the duos. LeBron and AD. It was all split up. Well, LeBron and AD seem to be on a different page than everybody else. LeBron gives you 28, 12, and 8. I did think that late in the game, fourth quarter, he was relying heavily on obnoxiously deep threes. He was just pulling up, and he was just taking these deep threes consistently, thinking, yo, LeBron, come on, you can get better looks than that. Now, who am I to tell LeBron James that he can get better looks? I understand that, right? I'm a fool. But in reality, come on, LeBron, it's the NBA Finals. You're coming down the fourth quarter, and it was a super close game. It was intense. These possessions really mattered, and he's pulling up from three, doing his step back from three, and they were deep, deep looks. You got to generate better looks than that. I was a little surprised that he went down that road and thought, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my best takes. He's smarter than that. He is. Now, he did have other plays throughout this game where I couldn't believe what I was seeing due to excellence. Where he split the defenders, takes it to the rack, gets fouled, makes an obnoxious bucket. He's on the floor, flexing. Beautiful sight to see. As much as I'm a LeBronsman, and maybe it's because there's no fans and you're drawn so heavily into what's happening on the court based off of the atmosphere, the whining and complaining does seem to be intensified a bit, with the shrug of the shoulders and the hands out and the face of disgust that you see out of LeBron after every single foul. Now, a lot of players do this. All players do this. It does seem to be intensified a bit, and that is coming from a true LeBronsman. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to pretend like it's not real, like people don't see it. I see it. I would like for him to maybe shut his mouth a bit more. When something happens, you shut your mouth, whatever, you accept it. Whether you agree or disagree, accept it and you move on. I can understand sometimes getting more heated than other times, but it does seem to be an extreme with LeBron right now. And I think maybe it does have to do with the atmosphere being different. You know, normally if there's a normal NBA Finals and there's a ton of crowd noise going and there's a ton of stuff happening, the camera shots will be different. But now it's just the product on the floor. And plus, you can hear them a lot more and you can hear their reactions. Sometimes you hear the audio go blank and you hear nothing because they're dropping F-bombs and cursing at each other. They should just allow that to happen. They should have an edited channel, maybe ESPN, or this is on ABC, which is the same company, but ABC gets the edited, and then maybe you can go to another channel, ESPN News, instead of showing some 2016 lacrosse national championship game. I don't know, whatever the hell was on, but that's what gets thrown on ESPN News. You could throw on the unedited version. Give us a little F-bombs. Give us a little curses. Why don't you? I'm here for it. Are you kidding me? Anthony Davis, 22, 9, and 4, 4 blocks. The game before this, he got into foul trouble. He wasn't the same. And then he woke up. And with LeBron, it wasn't like he had a dominant first half. Miami Heat cost him some trouble, caused him a lot of trouble. And then in the second half, LeBron James woke up. But you saw the difference in defense late. The defense by the Lakers, it was a grown man's defense. And that's why I always say, look, you want to talk about a grown man's league. Go watch the way that they played defense and they locked down in specific situations down the stretch. Speaking of grown man's league, though, LeBron James on that fast break for the two-handed jam, and Tyler Hero gets pushed to the side, although he flopped a bit. LeBron gave him a little bit of separation, goes for the hard jam, and here's Tyler Hero with a bit of a flop. But that just is, if you see that play, that just is the difference in the grown man's league compared to the little kid that I always talk about. Although I respect, obviously, everything that Tyler Hero has done to this point, and he's only going to grow from this type of experience. He had that insane, man, he takes some tough shots. He really does. It was like he was coming around, shooting off the dribble, and he was fading away. I guess the best way to describe it is what J.J. Redick used to do here in Philly, coming off of a dribble handoff where he's leaning to the right, he's like fading out of bounds, and you're thinking, how the hell is he going to make this? But he does anyway. Now, this wasn't a three-pointer, but it was more of a mid-range game, but similar type of concept, and he just nails it. One hell of a shooter, and the confidence is growing at an all-time high. He's going to learn from this, and hearing Eric Spoelstra speak after the game, you see that he's just so proud of his guys, so proud of his men going out there and giving everything they had. There's no question that the last two games by the Heat, they left everything out there on the floor, and I anticipate it being tough for the Lakers to close it out. Not so much, I think it's going to go 7 because the Heat are going to battle back in that way, but I say that like how Game 4 ended, where it wasn't easy. It wasn't a breeze. The Lakers really needed to be opportunistic. They really needed to hit specific shots. It was going back and forth. It was a seesaw, if you will. It's not going to be a 30-point victory win, I don't see. Because the way that Jimmy Butler plays the game, the way that Jimmy Butler leads that team, if you're not giving it 300%, come on now. And you know he will. He might fall short based off of not being a LeBron or AD, and that's fine. I'm not knocking Jimmy Butler for that. But that is why, and I love Jimmy Butler. I want him here in Philadelphia. Okay, I don't hate Jimmy Butler. But when this run happened for the Heat, a lot of people were saying, bro, come on, man. You told me he's not a star. You told me you can't win with him. You could win with Jimmy Butler. He just can't be your go-to dominant guy. He'll have games. He will have games like he did in Game 3. But the difference between a Jimmy Butler and like a legitimate star that wins you NBA titles is they do it consistently. They do it every night. A Steph Curry, a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James. That's the type of superstar that wins you championships all the time. That doesn't mean that there's not championships out there where teams don't have that type of player. It happens. There are outliers. So I think with Jimmy Butler's attitude and mindset as a leader, you're going to get a Heat team that will not go down without a fight, will not go down with blood on the court. And that's fine. I can support that. There is a difference, though, in what type of star Jimmy Butler is and the star that wins NBA titles consistently. That's all. I think that's fair. That's not a knock. To be fair, there's very limited amount of those players. There's a handful of them. Really, a handful of them. That doesn't mean everybody else in the league stinks, right? I thought what the Lakers did defensively, though, getting back to a little bit of this game, they put some tough opponents on Jimmy. They mix some things around. Anthony Davis with size. It's a tough matchup for some of these players. And that was a conversation in this series all along, was the size. Especially with Bam being out. It put them already at a disadvantage. But the size of the Lakers was going to cause the Miami Heat some issues. And you saw that. They went super small at times. But when you have LeBron James and AD, it's so tough. It's a tough task. LeBron is 35 years old, and he continues to do it, and I don't feel like it's appreciated enough. 10 finals, 10 NBA finals. That's so many. And the way I appreciate it is this. He adapts his game. Now, he was always a facilitator. He was always more of a pass-first guy than a I'm going to make the last bucket type of guy. And that's fine with me. But at 35, it really has transformed. And one of my buddies, he goes back and forth with me all the time. This is AD's team. LeBron is doing nothing. It's all AD. And he's poking the bear because he knows I'm a LeBron's man. That's sort of what LeBron is accepting, though. I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to open the floor. I'm going to score points. He finished with 28 points. It's not like he's a bum not producing anything on the offensive side in terms of putting the ball in the basket. But he's okay with being that more of a point guard type player than ever before. And that's not stopping him from splitting double teams and going to the rack. It's not stopping him from doing the standard classic spinorama LeBron James layup. It's not stopping him from being in the post, backing down, turn around, fade away, and knocking it in someone's eye. I believe that was Jimmy Butler, if I remember correctly. He's still utilizing that part of his game. But he's open and willing to being that standard point guard as well and be like, yo, AD, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Because he knows, one, with his age, he's got to rely on that. Although he really always has. He has. He always has believed in his teammates and allowed his teammates to take those shots, and that's fine. I know the Michael Jordan crowd right now is going to be like, see, that's the difference. If that's your mentality, I always think, and I know, it's not I think, I know, people are obsessed with scoring. People associate scoring with that means that player is the most dominant. And that's not necessarily the case. There's so many different ways to be savvy on the basketball floor. Basketball IQ-wise, it doesn't always mean that that individual is just scoring points, and that's the only way to determine someone's greatness or how they're doing. Because what he does and how he operates, it opens up so much on the floor for everybody else as well. And you got to appreciate that too. Lakers grab some big boards, big offensive boards. That's going to keep possessions alive and allow the Lakers to generate more chances to knock down shots and score points. I thought that was big. A couple days off. Interesting. What does this mean? regroup, get some energy back. Heat are shorthanded. There's really only one mindset for this Heat team, though, going into the next game. Just give it all you got. Give it all you got, and we will live with the results. Down 3-1, there's only been one team to do it in the finals, and it was LeBron James against the Golden State Warriors. I'm very intrigued to see how Miami approaches this one. And not only that, because you can think, you would think with their mentality, they're going to just give you everything. They're going to leave it out there. And I do expect it to go down that road. But there is an alternative. And that alternative is, it's 3-1. This team is too good. We had our chance in game 4. We were close, but they pulled away because we weren't able to hit our shots. They executed. We didn't. Is that deflating? I don't expect it to go down that road, but it's possible. It's a scenario. I think it's worthy of bringing it up. But with the Lakers, and I know LeBron's not satisfied. He already hit you with it's not done yet. The series isn't over yet. And every time he said that, I thought about Kobe Bryant when he said that. What's that to be happy about? When he was sitting at the podium, he had his tongue in his mouth, and he was moving his lips all around with his tongue inside of his mouth. Well, what's there to be satisfied about? Right? Gives me the goosebumps. Gives me the goosebumps. Job's not done. Job's not over. I feel like I want to find that audio clip. That's what I feel like I want to do. Let's see if we can bring that up real quick before we end the show.
Happy, or you're only half happy, or
Still to be happy about.
you're up 2-0?
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Oh, gives me the goosebumps. Gives me the damn goosebumps. All right. So, I made some money, by the way, on these NBA Finals by utilizing BetQL. If you go to BetQL.com and use promo code BRODES20, you get 20% off of your first payment. What BetQL provides is so much information and data, which will give you more of an educated decision when placing your bets. It shows you where all the professional bettors are headed. It gives you the analysis for each game. It gives you the trajectory of what's going to happen. There's so much info for you to grasp. It's a no-brainer. The amount you spend for BetQL, and once again, use promo code BRODES20 for 20% off of your first payment, you make your money back within the first bet at ease. I mean, it's not even close. The amount of money that you get in return, it blows the payment out of the water. And there is so much analysis and so much numbers that you can heavily utilize that puts an educated bet on the board for you. It's must use. And I mean must use. I'm not lying when I say I am cashing out consistently every night, big paydays. So make sure you check that out. We're also implementing an NFL Weekly Pick'em Pool presented by BetQL. Weekly prizes, a grand prize, courtesy of Rosnov Jewelers, a championship bracelet. Information is down below. Also, do not forget about Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. They are dedicated to making sure that your project is completed easily and properly by using high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. 3-1 series lead. I thought last night's game, though, Game 4, it was awesome in terms of entertainment. The entertainment value was there. First game, second game, third and fourth game, though, the juices were flowing again. Although I did not like that Game 3 was going up against Sunday Night Football, specifically, me being an Eagles fan. Would it be different if the Eagles weren't playing? Probably, yeah, because I need to be so heavily involved and invested in what's happening in the formations and Carson Wentz in the play calling. If it was a random, let's say, San Francisco versus the Giants, probably not as into it and more so into the NBA Finals game, but I still had it on. I still watched it, and I thought that on the secondary TV, of course, with the volume on 4, so I can kind of still hear when big plays happen. It's not on mute. I can't go mute on the second TV because that's when you miss things. But getting back to the point, Game 3 and Game 4 for the NBA Finals, even though it's a 3-1 series lead, it did bring some more energy involved to the Finals. It's just disappointing that, this is how it is. And I get it. COVID-19's here. It's a whole different year. You can't really make up this type of stuff. You got to find a way to have the NBA Finals and implement it. It just blows that it's going up against the NFL. Like, the NBA Finals should never go up against the NFL. The NFL is king. They win all the time. So it's disappointing from that standpoint. We all talked about it. How would it be like? What would it be like? Would it be awesome to have all these sports on at the same time? You thought, yeah, baby, of course it would be. It's not. It's really not. It's definitely not. The margin of error was very small for Miami. You don't have a big margin of error. You saw that on display. You saw the Lakers execute. And it was the story. It was the switch. Tyler Hero misses a three. Jimmy Butler in the corner misses a three. Crowder misses a three. These aren't all in consecutive plays, though. Just in general. Miss a three, miss a three, miss a three. Well, on those missed threes, what happens? Here comes the Lakers coming down the court, bang. Here comes the Lakers coming down the court, bang. That's the difference. Miss your wide open looks. It's tough to pull away. It's tough to take the lead. It's tough to beat Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So there you have it. 3-1 series lead. Will the Lakers close out? Or will the Heat push to another game? Couple days off. I think that's interesting to see how the bodies react. LeBron, though, getting that extra day of rest. Ooh, that's scary. That's scary. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.